Zoom as well, so that if for whatever reason it's not live streaming, then we at least can still put it out there. So for those of you who are just joining, we cannot see whether or not we are on live. So I'm going to apologize that we cannot see any questions. But if you have any questions, Robin and I will definitely go back to. We'll definitely go back. So, so welcome to Monday Whispers, and my name is Rolly, and I am with Bridging the Gap Wellness, and I am a what am I? I'm a little bit thrown off because of the whole live thing. So my spirit name is Yudo Migwin Kwe, and that stands for Talking Feather Woman. I'm a holistic wellness coach, a spirit flame keeper, and a soul healer. And I work with women who have experienced trauma and want to be able to find ways of being able to use regular psychotherapy with healing abilities and using healing energy to be able to help them get back on track. And so starting tomorrow, next Tuesday, I'm actually offering a free 6-week workshop on how to be able to deal with anxiety. So if you are interested in that, then I will add the link into the post, and I'm going to introduce you to Robin. So Robin is, this is Robin, and she is with Alchemy of Light. She is a creatrix and a holder of sacred space, a channel for cosmic wisdom. She is a world traveler and a storyteller of trees. She's a mom to fur babies and a restorer to lost soul parts. She loves craft beer and ushering earthbound spirits back into their own light. She plays by diving wisdom from the crystal world and communing with the sacred geometry in nature. She regularly sings to her trees and the space around her house, clearing any energies that may drift in and clutter up her mind or her relationships. Her gift is helping women to let go of limiting beliefs, teaching them to liberate themselves from life patterns and hides their wholeness. Helps them in the liberate themselves from life pattern, I'm sorry, I'm reading this, and that hides their wholeness and their innate beauty, their own unique gifts, and they can offer the world. And she helps you regain pieces of yourself that you may set aside or have forgotten altogether in life's fray. This allows you to be able to live authentically and fully, reclaiming your personal truth and offering the world your radiance. As a shamanic practitioner, she is in the other. She works in the other realms, and she of the spirit world, and she helps you journey through space. And I am just butchering what it is that she does. So how about we just go with Robin and say, "Hey, Robin, tell me more." So I tried to read her intro, but that just didn't work so well. So how about we just let Robin do this, since I'm butchering this so well? So Robin, tell me more.
Okay, that kind of covers it. Yes, I'm an intuitive healer, so I'm trained in healing touch. That was probably my first official training, was healing touch. And I really liked healing touch because it has a scientific background, and that worked for me at the time. It fed both parts of my brain. You know, this innate gift that I knew, even as a child, I knew I had this. I knew there were other spirits around, and there were spirits in our house and the trees and being out in nature. But healing touch, because it was designed by a nurse for nurses, it has a very scientific background, because they don't do woo-woo, or didn't do woo-woo. And that just kind of led, because once you start working on someone, you may start with a technique or a particular way, but then all of a sudden it just becomes very intuitively led, or your helping spirits guide you through the healing. And that just kind of led into the shamanism part. And I've been doing that for between 4 and 5 years. And I've worked with several different teachers and mentors to be on the shamanic path, working in the spirit world with helping spirits, with power animals, trying to learn to live a shamanic life. And that's what shamanism is. It's not a religion. It's a way of living. It's communing with nature. It's honoring and following the cycles of nature. And medicine wheel, and I know you work with the medicine wheel, that also honors the cycles of life and of nature. So that's kind of shamanism in a nutshell right there. To me, that's what it is. It's just about being really aware. It's doing everything you know to do to honor nature and the cycles of life, and to try and pattern your life in that way too.
Okay. So now you said that you did say the length of time that you actually worked, but I'm not quite sure that I caught what it is. You said 24 years?
No, 4 to 5 years in shamanism. Yeah. Okay. And the healing touch, that's been much longer. How long has that been? 13, 14 years, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what led you to become a shaman? Is that what they're called? Like what you would be called a shaman? As a female, I'm not sure. I know men are called shaman, but...
Well, there's a little bit of... some people just outright call themselves shamans, and then there's a whole belief that only the original indigenous people have the right to call themselves shamans. So I refer to myself as a shamanic practitioner, and I work in shamanic ways, and I work in the shamanic world. So
what led you to become a shamanic practitioner?
Well, I was doing my intuitive healing and using my healing touch and being led intuitively, and I felt like I spent all my time in the cosmos, like working in light and working with light, and I just felt like I needed something else. And a friend introduced me to a woman in Fort Collins who she goes to the jungle every year and works with the shamans in the jungle. And I went and took a course from her, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is what I've been looking for, because it's just very earthy. You know, it's like you're just in tune with the earth when you work, when you try to live a shamanic path. And even when you work with helping spirits, we go to the lower world, which is under the earth. We go to the upper world. We do middle world, which is our world here. We do journeys into the middle world. So that it was just kind of the next step. And you're probably that way too, Raleigh. Throughout your life, when you're ready for the next step, it just shows up for you.
And I think that happens to most people, right? So things just kind of happen. Like, and when people will say, and I truly honestly believe 100% is that things happen for a reason. Sometimes we don't know what those reasons are, and those are our paths. Those are the pathways, I think, that actually just kind of show up in your life of like, this is what it is that needs to happen, and this is how things are going to happen. So it's actually really cool how it just appears when.
And you just have to show up. You just have to be in the right place when it's time. That's right. Yeah.
It's really neat. So like that's very interesting. So so one of the things that you mentioned was journey, that you actually have journey in this lifetime, or like in this plane. And so what does that mean? Like, what do you mean by journey? Journey in?
So in journey space, so journeying or shamanic journeying is not an out-of-body experience. You take your physical body with you. So to set yourself up to journey, we connect with the space that we're in right now, in our physical space. So, you feel the weight of your body, you listen for the sounds in the room that you're in, what the energy feels like to be there, and you connect with your breath. And then you go in your mind to your sacred space. So often it's a forest path, or you'll be on a beach in front of an ocean or something like that. And there you also connect with all of your senses because you take your physical body. So it's real important that while you're in journey space, you're not standing back here watching this other figure have this experience. It's like you're having this experience. So first you have to connect again with all of your senses. You feel your feet on the path, wherever you're standing. You take in the smells of the space that you are. So if you're in a forest, you're going to smell forest. Or if you're by the ocean, you're going to smell that salty water. You listen for the sounds. You look around and see what you see. You feel the air on your skin. And once you're really connected, then you start having your journey experience. Before you ever go into journey space, you set an intention. This is what I'm going in here for. This is my question, or this is what I'm looking for. So once you've connected in your physical space where you are, and you've connected in your journey space, then you say it out loud in your journey space. This is what I'm here for, and you state your intention.
Okay.
All right? And then you can ask helping spirits to come in. You can ask power animals to come and help you, or you can just let the experience, the journey unfold before you. And you will get your answer.
That is really cool. So we had somewhat of an similar experience, and not realizing that maybe a lot of the same things that we had done is that I host an inner goddess circle on Thursdays, where we actually have women that actually come together, and we actually did a meditation of being able to create space, and that was one of the things, is that when I was walking them through the meditation, was that I was actually having them connect with all 5 senses before we actually moved through. And I've never had a shamanic journey, so it's actually really cool that this is something that the way that you're describing is that what it is that I was able to do intuitively to be able to help these women walk through that experience on Thursday. And so I'm definitely going to have to go through a full session so that I can see whether or not it was similar, or it definitely was similar to the way that you've described it, but so that I can actually see whether or not there was some parts of that I was able to take them through that part. So that's actually really cool. So again, right, those things just happen, and here we are meeting and sharing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I had a friend send me a message. This has been a year or so ago. She goes, I had this weird thing happen, and I can't remember if she had a dream or if she was kind of like daydreaming, and she told me all these things, and I'm like, well, you had a spontaneous journey. And she did. It was, and they're very real. They're very real, and they will unfold. The important thing when you're in journey space is to try not to control it or direct it. You're there to experience it. You've already set your intention, so you've already told the universe or your helping spirits and guides or your power animals what it is you want out of that experience. So you need to let them direct it for you rather than you trying to control it and direct it.
Okay, that's really cool. So, so how do clients work with you? So you have all these different experiences and these different things that you offer, but how do clients work with you?
So with the shamanic part, I often, well, I would say 99% of the time, I lead them in a guided journey. So I'm also in there with them, and I can see them and I can see what's happening. And then I get direction from spirit, from my guides, to tell me, okay, now tell them this, or ask them this, or let's let this happen for them. So that's how the client experiences it when they're on my table.
Okay.
That's the shamanic part. There are other things on my lineup. There's sound healing, and I have a crystal healing session, and there's a seated clearing session. That's probably the shortest session that I have. But in the shamanic part, I lead them through a guided journey. In that journey, and this has happened several times, I often help them return a soul part to themselves. So when we have trauma, and I know you work with women who have experienced trauma, when we have trauma, often a part of our soul leaves.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel safe, or it's like, I'm out of here, I'm not doing that, whatever. And they all go to this common place, and they just kind of hang out there, which sounds really funny. I know it does, but there they all are. What was that? Where was I going with that? Oh, trauma. Okay. So the trauma part doesn't have to be like a life-threatening trauma, but your body may respond in that way. It could be an illness. You could just be very ill, and this soul part's like, I'm out of here. I don't want to be a part of that. It could be a car accident, or it could be much worse. Or it could just be an emotional trauma where you're just in this really bad place in your life, or this bad experience where most people would say, oh, you're going to be fine tomorrow, or whatever. It depends on how it affects you individually. And soul parts will leave. So in order for a soul part to return, you have to create a safe space. You have to have cleared up whatever it was that caused the trauma in your life, and then create a safe space for that soul part to come back in. And when they leave, they always take certain gifts or characteristics with them, so that when they return, they bring those back to you. So often it's something like wholeness or strength, or it'll be your childlike wonder or your creativity, things like that. That's a very small sample of what can go away when the soul part leaves.
Okay. So now, so that is like what happens when they're working with you. But how do they actually get to start to work with you? So like if I wanted to actually have a session with you, how does that work? So I'm way up in Northern Ontario, and you're way over down south in the US. So how would I be able to work with you?
Just schedule a session. Like from my website, there is a button that takes you to my online scheduler and shows you all of the sessions that I offer.
Okay.
Many of them can be done wherever we are. It just doesn't matter. There's distance healing, any shamanic session we can do. Even if someone wanted the crystal healing, what I do then is I ask your higher self to come in as proxy for you, as proxy for your physical body. And then I just work on you on my table, wherever you are in the world. I bring your higher self in and work on you on my table.
Okay. So much like I do with Reiki.
Yes.
Very similar in terms of when I'm working with distance Reiki with my clients. Yes. The same concept.
Yes.
Okay.
And my distance healing I'd be like, okay, I'll schedule this on my schedule, or I'll do it, after work or whatever, and then I'll call you with the results. But anymore, because we have Zoom now, and we can talk on the phone at the same time, and you can hear and I can hear you, I don't do that so much anymore. We schedule the time and we're together.
Okay.
We're together during that time. Yeah. Unless someone was on the other side of the world where time things just didn't work out. I would try to do it when they're asleep so that they're more at rest. So it's easier to get through to them if they're sleeping.
Okay. So now, do you have anything special that's coming up?
I do. I have a shamanic journeying virtual retreat in August, and it's 2 Wednesdays, the 15th and the 22nd. And it's where I teach you how to do shamanic journeying. And we need 2 sessions because there's a lot to it. Because you have to first learn to be in that space and take your body with you, basically, rather than being a viewer way back here watching something happening out here. So sometimes that takes people a little bit of time. So the first thing we do, the very first step that I do with everyone is, we connect with our physical bodies and our physical space here, and then we go into journey space. And I lead them to a specific place so that everyone can either picture it in their mind, or some people can't picture. So you just kind of know that you're in that space, or you feel that space. Like if I were to lead them into a forest. So they just kind of know that they're there. And then we connect with all of our senses. And we stay there for a minute or 2, and then we come back out. And then we go back in, doing the same thing again, and we do like one more step, and then we come back out. And then we go in and do it again and do 2 more steps, meet with a helping spirit, and then we come back out. And we continue that until we find your own sacred garden. And then that way you have this mental picture or a feeling or a smell or a sound of what your sacred garden is like. Because not everyone, as I said, can see in their head. Mm-hmm. People have different strengths in their clairs. So some people smell, some people hear, some people just know, some people see pictures, some people feel them in their body. We all have more than one, but some are stronger than the others. Like my sense of smell is the least strong of mine.
Okay.
Right. So it just takes some time to get everybody comfortable with going in and out, so that they know they're in the right place, so that they know they're in that sacred space and they're being held and they're protected. And then during the class, we go to the upper world, we go to the lower world, we go to the middle world, we connect with an element. We go to the Mother Earth Spa. We go to the Cosmic Incinerator. We do all kinds of journeys. So we do an in and out journey where it will have like 2 or 3 parts, and you go in and do one part, you come out, make your notes, and you go back in and do the second part and come out and make your notes. So.
Okay. So is there a lot of people in this, class that you're doing?
Hopefully there will be.
Okay, so
we're working on that.
100 people or like?
No, my guides told me a maximum of 12.
Okay.
That way I can give everybody the attention they need. And it also gives everyone time to share if they feel like sharing, and to ask questions.
So now you said that it's on 2 Wednesdays. So like what time of the day?
So it would be 6 p.m. my time, and I'm Mountain Time.
Okay.
And
so
Eastern,
I think you're 2 hours before I'm
2 hours behind you.
Behind us? Okay. So
you're 7:30, I'm 5:30 right now. Right?
Because we're Eastern. So for those of you who are watching, so this is the difference between Robin and me. And I'm horrible with time zones. So I'm like always making reference in terms of time. So it's like, so 7:30 Eastern, my time. And so now you said So it's, what time did you say? Sorry.
6 to 9.
6 to 9. Okay.
So I know on the East Coast that makes it like 7 to 10. But I'm like, okay, so we're working in the US, at least we're working with 4 time zones. You know,
Yeah.
what is going to be the best? So that was as close as I could get it.
So if so for those of us who decide to join in, oh, there's the kitty. And so for those of us who decide to join in, like, what kind of energy will we be feeling when we're done? Like, are we going to be like kind of wide awake, really relaxed? Or does that depend on everybody's journey? Like how does that work? Typically?
You should feel very connected to all that is.
Okay.
So however that affects you, you won't be hyped where you can't go to sleep.
Okay.
And you won't be so overly relaxed that you just fall down, but you should feel very connected to all things. You will have a working knowledge and partnership with a helping spirit and a power animal. You will have received a healing, possibly 2, depending on where we get led. You will have given away to the cosmic incinerator some belief or behavior that you just don't want to carry into the rest of your life. We're going to get rid of all that. So yeah, you should just feel very connected, it also creates a feeling of, it doesn't matter what goes on in your life, you know where to get answers and you know where to get healing, because you can receive actual physical healings in journey space.
Okay.
Not just a pretend thing or something that only happens in one layer of your field. It's actual physical healing.
And so if you have, if you're connected to many of your clairs, will you, is that the kind of things that you're going to experience, or will it only be certain ones, like only certain ones get more heightened? Or, so like for me, I don't have all 5 of my clairs. It's, I typically I sense, so I feel, and but I don't have like I see, but I don't have visions. So like I can, that's kind of weird, really weird. But like I think that you probably understand what it is that I mean. Like I can see, I can sense, I can feel, but I'm not. I don't typically have visions unless I've physically been somewhere. Like then I don't
have pictures in your head.
What's that?
You don't have pictures in your head?
Yeah, I don't typically, no. So unless it's something, unless I'm recalling an actual vision of something that I've seen, I don't typically. My mom has a very, very strong clairvoyance. So mom can feel her spirit animals, but she can also see them. She sees when her spirit guides come, mom can actually physically see them. I just know that they're around.
So you will, because in the learning process, you will tap into your strongest clairs first. It's just human nature, and it is what you should do. You shouldn't try to have a new experience of shamanic journeying and try to like develop your least strong clair, because that's going to be frustrating for you. But over time, as you continue to go into journey space, your guides will strengthen those other clairs for you, because you're going to need them over time. Okay. Because they bring you messages in different ways. And different guides come in throughout your life in different ways too. So you're going to need your other clairs to be strengthened somewhat so that you recognize that.
So I know that through, because I'm going to kind of compare it to the energy of Reiki, just because it's something that I'm familiar with and that I've experienced. So, so when we're done a Reiki session, people may not, depends on what it is that they've experienced and felt. Sometimes people will feel something, sometimes they won't. But then hours later or days later, things just kind of come together. Is that the same? Does that same kinds of things happen through a shamanic journey?
It can. It can be immediate, like just like that. or it can take a while for something to integrate or something to fully leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's great. So is there anything else that you think that that people need to know or should know or would like to know, Robin? Is there anything that we missed?
Yes. So as you go through your travels, your day-to-day travels, you can pick up possessing spirits. Some of them are pretty harmful. I'm sorry, harmless. That was weird. What's that? Harmless, but they do source off of you. So they kind of take your energy. Some could be earthbound spirits. They could be spirits from the other realm. It's not unusual. I don't remember who said this. Someone said that at any time we have 6 spirits around us, like with us or sourcing off of us. This can wear down your energy. It can interfere with your focus. So that using the technique of compassionate depossession to move these spirits into the light just helps clear your field. It helps bring your energy back up, brings your focus, brings you more into focus. You can also have things that get stuck in your field or in your body. And in one of the shamanic techniques that we use, we can do extraction and take those things out of your body, clear those out, fill it with light, and heal that place where nothing can come back in there.
Okay.
So those are a couple of other ways that we work in the shamanic tradition. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else? That's pretty much it with soul retrieval and the depossession and the extraction.
Okay, well that sounds very, very interesting. So I'm definitely going to be looking into the link. So what I'm going to do is I will actually get the link from Robin, and we'll actually put it in the feed, but I will also put it in the top of the comments. And like I said, if we're actually doing this on, I'm just adding the recording as opposed to live, because according to Zoom, we are still live, but we couldn't find it. So, but Robin and I will definitely come back in. If you have any questions for Robin, Robin is amazing at being able to answer any questions. I'm in some groups with Robin, and she always comes back to answer any questions that any of us have. So please feel free to tag Robin, and she will definitely come in and respond if you have any questions. So, so thank you very much, Robin, for joining me on this Monday Whispers, and I am very thankful that you were thankful and honored, actually.
I was going to say that. I'm quite honored. Thank you.
Well, then we were both honored, but I really am. So Robin and I have a little bit of a history with our friend Flora, who is our coach in Goddess Dream School, and so we've got to know each other. But I've really never got to know more about what it is that Robin does and how it works. And so very much intrigued in learning a little bit more about this, and I'm hoping to be able to actually join you on this workshop. So so we will see, and thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So bye everybody. So we will talk to you guys again on next Monday.